Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan, and we're discussing what Joe Biden talked about the Oval Office, what he talked about, and we're going to discuss it right now. It's about 50, it was just under 15 minutes. We got the glasses on, so you know what we're talking about, politics. But we're going to discuss it. It was a big thing for today. A lot of people would be discussing it from now on. Officially, the first time he has talked ever since he has said he was not running for re-election, and he's going to just, for the next 6 months, he's going to do his course, and then just off to the sunset, pretty much. He's been in office. He's been in the office realm of politics for about 50 years. He's been there for a while, but the nominee will almost 100% be Kamala, which that'll be interesting to see. But let's discuss specifically. If we get a little bit off topic, I'm sorry, but I'm going to stay on topic as much as I can related to this interview. Okay, anything relates to it that I want to add, I want to add to it. But let's get started. So starting off the discussion or the interview, or just, what's the best way? A speech, some sort. I guess a speech is the best way of saying it. He starts off talking about past presidents. I think he mentioned FDR, mentioned the Lincolns. He mentioned the great presidents of past. And then he talks about how he loves being president. He talks about how big of an honor it was, one of his biggest honors, the biggest honor he's had in his entire life. So that's a good thing to mention. I'd hope it would be. So yeah, nice thing to mention. Okay, says democracy is what it's all about. I mean, yeah, that's what America wants to pride itself upon, of being a democracy, a republic. It's a mixture, I guess. It's strange. A full-on democracy would mean everyone gets a say in every single vote, and it's all to the public. So if it's like 50.1% of America believes in something, it would go that way. But it's not done specifically that way. So it's kind of an in-between of a democracy and a republic. So yeah. He also talks about this as a big turning point in the country between good and evil. That's up to you to decide what's good and evil. Trump says the same thing, but a lot of people are saying the same thing. Not just the two main presidential candidates, or one presidential candidate, the current president, but a lot of people are saying this within the media. Respected people within the media are saying this is a big turning point. I'm saying this is a big turning point because a nation is going one way, and either it's going to turn around and we're going to see a new side, or we're going to keep going down that route and possibly get worse or better depending on how you look at life. Or more, I should say, get more extreme, either for the better or the worse. We shall see how that plays out. But this is also something that he talks about that I believe he says he wanted, which before he got into office was respect. He wants to gain respect back. He wants there to be no lies. He's not going to lie to you, which is iffy right there. He wants a democracy, and he wants unity. That's something that we mentioned before a lot about, is unity. We don't have that. We talk about unity within the country, and then we have stuff like the day that happened in Washington, D.C., that these, I think, college students or protesters of some sort tore down 3 American flags and burned them for Palestine, which is a really weird way to support something by tearing down your own country in the process. Why would you want this? How are you going to get that to work? That's okay. Here's a little. I'm going to stay as short on this topic as I can. How are you going to want this? Why would the country support your opinion if you keep burning down its flag? That makes no sense. Why would you match? I mean, I've seen the Israel protest be a lot more, not protest, but it's in support of Israel, be a lot more calm than this. Why would we ever go for your side? Why is your side so extreme when it comes to hatred? I don't know why. Hatred has never fully got things changed for the positive. That's something that's been expressed. Hatred leads to violence. Violence leads to deaths. And nothing good's come out of that. So that's just one thing to mention. I don't know why people do that stuff. Why can't people just share their opinion? Things aren't going to get changed around here unless somebody's thrown at them. So yeah. He says he's promised to tell you the truth. Again, that's iffy upon that. I don't see that. No president full on tells you the truth, let's be honest. No president does. He wants to unite the party. The party could not be more split right now. But now since he's gone, I'm not sure how he's going to be the one uniting it. Kamala would have to be the one uniting it. But maybe she has the possibility to do it. We shall see. Again, these next coming months will be huge. Trump has a big lead. We'll see if Kamala and the Democratic Party can come back up. I did see a video talking today about how Donald Trump in 2015 was making fun of special needs and disabled people. That's not a good look. Again, one thing about Trump, before this re-election, before this election right now, he was wild on camera talking about whatever. So they're going to use past clips of you for whether it's in context or out of context. I think that was more in context. It's a bad clip. It's just not a good look for Trump. It's really not. It's a bad thing to do. Why would you make fun of Why would you make fun of a disabled reporter? I don't know why people would do. I'm not sure why he would do that. But that's the thing I've been speculating. Not speculating. It's just been going around more recently. But again, a lot of people do bad stuff. But that's a very bad thing to do. You can't be doing that, Mr. Trump. Anyways, best way to unite your nation is a new person. That's something that he mentioned during his speech. It was again around a 12-minute speech. Best way to unite our nation is a new person, which would be Kamala. Next up, we'll focus on lowering prices and basic rights. And focus on basic rights, not lowering basic rights. Focus on basic rights and lowering prices. I'd hope that happens, but again, it's been 3.5 years. It's not really happened. Everything has been going up. Talk about inflation going down. Again, set the bar pretty high, but again, the higher you raise the bar and the lower starts to fall, you can say it's lowering inflation, but you did bring it up pretty high. So, yeah, next up, also basic rights. That's a good thing to hear. I hope that he can help people with basic rights. But again, what are those? What are the basic rights you were referring to? Because a lot of people are talking about, a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to help you with basic rights. Or a lot of presidentials or the people in the office will say, I want to help out with basic rights. Well, what are those basic rights that you talk about? What are the major rights that Americans truly want? And let's focus on that. Because it's a free country, so what rights do we not have that we need to be focusing on? And it says no violence is allowed and gun violence. And also he talks about trying to end cancer. I'm not sure if he's mentioned that before or anything, but that's a nice thing to hear. If I doubt that's going to happen because, well, the medical industry, they need cancer patients because it's a huge part, it's a huge moneymaker, and it's sad to see. But I've lost people in my family I've known because of cancer, and pretty much all my pets have died because of cancer. Cancer is a bad thing within my family and around me. I would love to see that happen. My opinion about the Democrats, my opinion about specifically Biden would change a lot if that would happen. So if a president comes out, it probably won't be Biden, who's only 6 months, but if a president does come out with a genuine cure of cancer, shout out to them, because that would be a huge thing to do. Huge thing to do. I doubt what that'll happen, but I would love to see it happen. I really would. Because I think they do have the resources, but again, it's not my decision. If it was my decision, I would hope I would have got this started. But again, money, power, resources, that's more important than people's lives. Okay, again, no violence allowed and gun violence. It's really tough to stop gun violence unless if you put more policemen and women out there on the force and, they're able to respond to gun violence quicker and respond by actually using their weapons of their choice. Not of their choice, actually use their own weapons to defend themselves. So I know a lot of people are upset when cops actually use their weapons whenever they get charged with a weapon by someone else that they don't know and are been called to because, well, they've been a threat. It's tough. You gotta let the cops do their job. And if you don't like how the cops do their stuff, let's change the way how you become a cop. Because there's other countries that you actually have to go through like a 2-month course, physical training, going through everything. Sometimes it's a full college type of way of 2 years. For us, it's not the same. It's really, really not. If you're going to be a cop, you probably could. If you know how to shoot somewhat well, know the laws, and are able to follow them very well, and have not a bad criminal history. It's not the craziest requirements in the world, but the training is not great for it compared to other countries. And guess what? Their crime is lower. Why? Because they protect their city better. Why? Because they have better people for it, for the job. It's our problem. That's our problem. It's been a problem forever, but it's been a problem more recently. People believe they have a voice, and their actions do not have consequences. And a lot of times, sometimes it's passed that they just don't have consequences. Some people don't give them consequences, and then they repeat it. And then at one point, they will have consequences, and there will be huge consequences because someone's going to get fed up, and they will use something to hurt you. Rather than warn you, they will hurt you. It's tough how that works. But it's deserved, and we need to We need to force more of the. We need to force the laws, man. There's some there. I know in the South where I live, laws are enforced overall pretty well. The more north you get, especially up in New York, it's a whole conundrum of badness that people want to express their opinions with violence or any of that nature rather than just talk it out or just get over it. I know, like, it's the best way to show your opinion is to hurt others. That makes no sense. You can't help someone else if you're hurting other people in the process. That's not how that works, man. Next up, let me find this. First president to not have USA in a war in this century. That's what we said. First president in the century to not have USA in a war. It's been like 4 or 5 presidents in this century. Good job, but again, the way you got them out, very, very questionable. Very, very questionable, which was one of the worst military decisions we've ever had in the country history. So yes, we're not in war, but granted, we did not exit the way that we wanted to, the way that we should have. Okay, so we'll make NATO better. Hopefully, I would love to see that, but we shall see. It says we can come together as a country. I don't believe that at all. And it's not Biden's fault. I'll be completely honest. It's not Biden's fault specifically. He plays a part of it, but everyone plays a part of it. The entire country plays a part of it. I play a part of it. We pick sides. No matter what you say, we pick sides. If you're a Democrat or Republican, and it split us because the idea of Republicans and Democrats used to be, okay, the candidate will pick one of the sides, and no matter what your opinions are, you could agree with the other side, but you'll be supported and funded by this party. But now it's been Democrats believe full on left wing and rights are the Republicans, full right wing. And there's no balance. There's not many times that our Democratic side and Republican side will agree on things. And that's where no unity will come from. It's 50-50 split. A lot of people are Democrats, a lot of people are Republicans. And it's a mixture of the states. Some West states are Democratic, not as many Republican. The more south you get, more Republican you get. You go up north, it's more Democratic. And then you have the Midwest, which is more middle. I think tends to lean more Republican. So it's kind of like there's no balance. There's no balance within it. And if there's no balance with anything, it can get no unity. There will not be a time in American history, again, that will ever be united over one thing. We'll never will. There's nothing that will be united upon. Nothing. Because people want to say, I'm right, rather than I'm wrong, and let's work on this, or let's work on this together. I want to work on my thing, you do your thing. I don't care. Or I care about what you say enough that I'm going to hurt you, or I'm going to disagree with you just because you agree with something. Or because you said something, I'll disagree. That's so many people's mindsets, whether they say it or not. Everyone has a tendency to do that. I have a tendency to do that whether I like it or not, whether I realize it or not, and it hurts everyone. And we'll never be united again. Nothing will get us united again. Nothing will. If a president's even really good, if Abe Lincoln came back and showed up and decided to do his thing, people will critique him for anything. For anything he would do. They would nitpick every single thing. See? And also really good presidents that had potential, that brought in the United States together, a lot of them got shot. Abe Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, William McKinley, I'm not sure how great he was, but he actually died. JFK, Ronald Reagan, Trump did his thing. He's not really uniting the country, but united this party, which is accomplishment within itself. Next up, he says the border's getting more secured. Sure, yeah, that's the idea of having a really high bar and you bring it down. We had like 7 million migrants come in. How? So it's the most secure this border's been ever than under the Trump administration. That's a lie within itself. I saw that. That's a big lie. I'll call that pawn. This was never a problem under Trump. This never was a law. This never was a problem. This never was. And then now it is. It's a big problem. And it's killed people. It's hurt people, men and women, upon the situation from Pennsylvania down to Texas. It's hurt a lot of people. And it's not something that you can just lightly say, oh, it's got better. Okay. No, it's not. It's got so much worse under your administration. And then it's gradually worked its way back down because it has to. Because you've realized you have to start changing things. Okay, next up. He wants to rebuild the entire country. He wants to rebuild it, just build it up again. Nice to see, but I'm not sure to do that in a 6-month span. You didn't do it over 3.5 months. Why would we leave it? You're going to do it now. 3.5 years, I should say. My apologies about that. America is the biggest country in history. My bad. America is an idea, and the idea is the biggest country. It's the biggest in history. I don't know exactly what I wrote down here. It was a very confusing quote within him that he said. Pretty much, the idea of America is the biggest idea in history. I'm not sure how exactly he was trying to say that. It was really weird. How is an idea in America related? The idea being freedom, I guess, but other countries have freedom. We're being united under one thing, and we're not. It was very confusing. I'm not sure. Well, I wrote that down to see if I could understand it later. I still don't. I didn't help myself the way if I wrote it down, though, so maybe if I see the quote again, I'll be able to understand it. Okay. Kamala is tough. There you go. Yeah, he says Kamala is tough. One thing about Kamala that will be brought up a lot is she played a huge part in covering up that Biden's health was getting worse. And if he's covering up stuff like that, it's a big deal. Because the idea of someone's covering up someone's health for 3.5 years, that's bad. Or at least 2 years guaranteed. That's really bad. Especially if it's your president and you're supporting that. You're supporting that we're going to hide Biden's lack of ability to speak, lack of ability to actually move, and his overall health. Very poor, very poor. And she helped hide that. That's not a good sign. That's not a good thing. And again, that will split the country more apart. Okay, so he's trying to hype up America. He was trying to hype up America overall, talk about his upbringings in Pennsylvania, lower part of Pennsylvania, working his way up, saying and this is what America's all about, which it is. An idea of small towns coming from smaller cities and working your way up in life is an American dream of some sort. It's tough to do that whenever inflation's at its peak high as it's been. And it shows. I work at a produce place. I've seen the prices go higher because we have to pay more for things. Why? Because for the farmers to be able to sell stuff, they have to raise the prices even higher, and then it works its way down. It works its way up and more and more and more. Because the starting price has to be higher, because guess what? Inflation's already high, so they have to sell it for a different price to be able to afford their own resources and their own supplies. It's bad. But let's continue. And then he's talking about we have history in our hands right now. That is true. History will rely upon what we do over the next months. It will affect years to decades of people like my life. And then he's not mentioning he wants a young guy in office. Young person in office. He mentioned he wants a young person, which is Kamala. He wants a new generation of people. Not a bad idea. Not bad at all. And I'm not going to full-on critique Kamala. I made that one critique right there, but I think Kamala does have an opportunity to show herself as a good candidate. Before y'all say anything about Kamala's past or anything of that nature, I get it, but let's give her a free slate. Let's give her not a new slate. Let's give her an opportunity. Let's hear what she has to say and critique her as a president. Because again, Trump said bad stuff in the past. If you're willing to vote for him, that's okay. That is okay, but he has said some bad stuff in the past. Kamala's done some bad things in the past, but let's focus on what she's going to do now. Let's just see. Because again, no matter how you act character-wise, you were not looking at you as a role model. We've not looked at president as a role model in decades. So let's see what your opinion is. Let's see what you're going to do for the country. That's what I'm focusing on. I would love good character, but I'm not expecting a role model. But let's see what your plans are for America is. And the last thing was talking about may God bless you and may God bless our troops. Always nice thing to see. Go support the military, support the people of this country. And yeah, still September 10th will be the big date for the debate. And we're going to see who the new vice president is. Again, the betting odds are out. You go bet on who you think will be the next vice president, or it'll be the vice president that Kamala will choose. Overall, not a bad thing by Biden. It was strange, but overall, he talked, again, fluently. He didn't do a bad job with his final speech. See what happens. See if he makes any more appearances. And we'll see what happens with Kamala. Put down in the comments your own opinions about this. Hope you have a great day, y'all. Stay safe, and God bless y'all.